right. Five Star Fam. It's a hello. It is it's a pretty crappy Wednesday, but we're here for your free therapy. And yeah, U.S. men's national team crapped the bed at the last second, but Atlanta United, they fight back after a pretty horrid start, and unfortunately still fall 2-1. And yeah, it's just, we ran into a keeper that really stood on his head. We had 24 shots. That was I think, season high. That's for sure, at least. I think maybe a previous season high for this one was, or at least this season, was 11. That's according to Doug Roberson. But yeah, I mean, it's just, you can't concede 2 goals in the first 9 minutes and run up against a young, hungry goalkeeper and expect to win. So yeah, it's just something that's we always run into, don't we? We always run into a keeper that stands on his head, especially a young one. Super annoying. But yeah, I mean, the rest of the match we played pretty decently, I would say. Actually, lots of pot shots from Almada, but yeah, a good majority of them were on goal, and Machopachol was able to get our consolation goal. So, I mean, it's on the road. It's a result that, I mean, I think we showed some resilience, but ultimately just can't crap the bed that early and expect to keep the crap off the bed. All right, but what were your thoughts? Yeah, yeah, it's almost like Benjamin Button a little bit. We play really well at the end of matches as well. Yeah, the broadcast mentioned that we are leading the league in kind of late goals, essentially. So 14 goals in the last 15 minutes, and now 15 goals because Mitchell Chol scored one in the 92nd minute. So yeah, I mean, it's just, we really leave it late, and yeah, sometimes we just don't have enough time to come back, and it's yeah, I mean, incredibly annoying because yeah, well, they moved into second after this match, and they're a very good team, clearly. Yeah, I mean, we almost probably should have got something from this match, realistically, but we just cannot do what we did in the first 10 minutes and expect to get something out of most matches on the road. So, but okay, yeah, it was a little patchy when you were speaking, but I was hoping it wasn't just me.
Hello. Okay, now we should be good. Let me know in chat if you guys can hear me. And I'll just repeat myself real quickly. So yeah, 2 soft goals underneath 10 minutes. That's just not, that's inexcusable. It looked like the first goal, Brad was a bit screened. So that's just kind of unfortunate. A little bit soft there. You know, it was
Second goal.
second.
So good, actually.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Yeah.
That ball, that counterattack was just devastating. I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why am I
Yep.
hearing myself again? Oh,
yeah,
Ariel.
'cause they're-
Ariel, can you hop out and I'll let you know when to come in?
Yeah. And also,
One
okay,
second.
so you might have to mute him.
I did, yeah.
There we go. Okay.
Well, I muted him for myself. I don't know if I muted for you.
Okay. Yep, it did.
Okay.
But and yes, if we could have him, yeah, you'd probably just have to, you know.
Just 1 second, everybody. Let me. All right, there we go.
There we go. There.
Okay. All right. So yeah. Okay. My mic is back on. Ariel, what did I just say, man? Give me a minute. Jeez. Oh, all right. All right. So anyway, where was I? Ariel, man. I don't know how to like stop him.
Yeah, I'm not to. All right. But yes, our first guest will be Henry Higuita. We'll
Yeah.
have him come on in
Yeah.
a second, but
Yeah, let me just kind of get this. Yeah, I will get this out if it kills me. All right, so, so yeah, I mean overall, like one of the things that one of our chatters was saying, which I think was which was kind of funny, is that maybe we should warm up and play some rounders or something intense early on, like 10 minutes before the game starts. So it's like we're warmed up and ready to go when the first whistle is blown, because it's like we are so damn sleepy when the game starts. It takes us like 0 to 60 for like 90 minutes. It's ridiculous. Like I don't know what it is, and they haven't learned yet, any of these players, that like we need to hit the ground running, because what this team does, what a lot of teams seem to be doing against us, is like, if anyone played StarCraft 2, they know the Zergling Rush. This is pretty much that. They come in hard, fast, smash and grab, and it just punches us in the mouth, shocks us, and all of a sudden we're trailing. We got to just pull back. We need to push forward, and the other team safely just kind of sits back and absorbs the pressure and tries to counter. And I mean, some people were saying, well, maybe perhaps like bunkering against Atlanta United is not a good idea. But when you're away and you don't have Yako, I think that the better odds are on the side of the bunkering team if they have a lead like 2-0. So it's always going to be a tall order to come back from two kind of devastating bunches early on the game. So it's something we gotta just. I don't know how you fix that. I don't know how you be ready from the beginning whistle. If I'm playing a soccer game, my adrenaline is going. I'm pumped. I'm ready to go. I don't know why these guys are like yawning and rubbing their eyes. Like, it's bizarre to me how they just can get so caught flat-footed.
Absolutely, yeah. It's definitely something that we need to mitigate. I mean, obviously they warm up before the match. I mean, it's possible that it needs to be. Yeah, maybe it's something else like a full-on scrimmage, right before. But that's probably not even the solution here. But yes, Ariel, if you could, please hop off. I think you're second. So yes, if you could do that for us. And Henry, we will get you on right now. But,
yeah. Oh, there we go.
Yeah,
Thank you. All right, Henry. Thanks you for stopping by. Of course, Henry Higuita from Dirty South Soccer, here to give us his takes about the game. And unfortunately, it wasn't a pleasant one, but here we are.
And yes, if you could turn your camera on.
Oh, my camera's not on. That's embarrassing.
Oh, you're fine. There we go.
Hey.
There we
Okay.
go.
Thanks for having me on, guys.
Yeah, no
it's always
problem.
a pleasure.
Absolutely.
Wish it was a more positive game.
Yeah.
But yeah, just some quick things from me about the game. I think, giving up a goal in the first 4 minutes, never ideal. That goal, I think two factors into play there. One, that Matt Ulster just wasn't closed down fast enough. They gave him way too much space at the top of the box. And, as a player, you get that space in that position, you're probably going to let that shot rip. You're going to try it. And he did, and, it was a really good shot. It was a thunderer. And Guzan had no chance, really, at that speed and being blocked as he was. So I don't really blame him for that one. But, the second goal, I think, definitely was just... It started from the turnover, and then it kind of just, spiraled downward after that. Between Sosa getting just nutmegged and embarrassed.
Undressed completely.
Yeah. Not his finest moment of the game, but also not his only mistake, which is why I think he was taken off at halftime. He just wasn't having a great game. He was fumbling some 5-yard passes. He was missing a few marks, and ultimately I think it was the right decision to take him off. But yeah, the second goal was just, when you have that turnover there and you have the New England's attackers ready to just pounce like that and just run at your back line when they're that far advanced, you just don't have a whole lot of a chance there. And New England did the right thing, and it was just an easy finish, really. It was 1v1. I think, if you take out those first 10, 15, 20 minutes where, Atlanta United was kind of behind the 8 ball, I think you have a pretty decent performance, especially in the second half. That was more so, Georgi Petrovic standing on his head. He's a really good goalkeeper, and that's what he's going to do, and he's going to have games like that. And especially, that save on Angel Parada's header, which I need to go back and see a better angle of that, because, I'm sure it didn't go in, but I just want to see it again because it was so close.
Yeah.
But when you have
spatial awareness, that Petrovic, just
but when
really
when you're a goalkeeper and you have that kind of a save off the line, that really gets the juices going, and you just keep on rolling. So, all credit to him, and all credit to Atlanta United for fighting through to the end, especially, and congrats to Chop for his goal. I think
it was a well-taken goal,
on.
Difficult angle.
Yeah, and he showed some good things when he came on. I think he was creating a lot of danger initially. He was doing a really good job, in my opinion. And you just like to see a homegrown like that, score and do well, even if he, it wasn't a win or a tie. Even if you still lost and it was kind of a consolation goal, lost toward the end. You like to see a player get those goals and develop in that way. So very happy for him, and on to Orlando.
Yeah, I think he started to do some damage when we were actually able to find him, to put the ball at his head, because we didn't really have any tall targets, because Jako's usually that guy. And then when we have Cholin, he can actually get those. And so we started seeing Etienne really deliver some decent balls finally, because he was a train wreck up until, Chol came on, because he actually had someone to serve to. And I mean, I don't know what is going on with Etienne. I know they were playing him inverted tonight at one point, and boy, did that not look great. I mean, I don't know why, or what kind of, that one shot he did, there's a couple of these tonight with some of these shots. Hernandez had one too, where it's just what are you doing? What? You have the ball in a decent spot, and that's what you did? I don't know. It was just baffling to me.
Yeah, I mean, if you go back and watch some of... Oh, sorry.
No, go for it, man. Go for it.
No, I mean, I'm I'm gonna go ahead and say this, but I did write an article like last fall about how Etienne would really, fit into Atlanta United and would be a decent signing. But that was the Etienne from last season and seasons before when he was bagging 9 goals, 8 assists, something like that. When he you saw his highlight reels and he was actually very promising. He was doing the right things when he was getting those shots off. They were good shots, and when he came to Atlanta United, I guess I don't know what's going on, but that just hasn't translated.
Does
And I
this
don't know
just
if
the
it's
club have like a miasma about it that just drains all the talent out of some of the players that get here?
I don't know, man.
It's not.
It's hard. It's just hard to say.
Yeah.
But just I honestly did expect more from him. I think a lot of fans did, obviously as well, expect more from him. He just hasn't delivered as we expected him to. And I don't know if he's ever going to really find that footing. I don't know how much more patience Gonzalo Pineda or the fans are going to have with him. So I think it's going to be interesting to see what happens with him. But yeah, it's just he did not have a good game tonight, and he hasn't really had a particularly great one ever since coming. So yeah, I guess we'll see what happens with him.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's that. It's like he hasn't really even had a good moment yet. And like you have Miguel Berry who, scored a wonder goal, and yeah, Etienne hasn't really had any highlights, and that's difficult. And his not top 10 tonight was missing that sitter, at the left of the box in the 6-yard box, and pushing it wide. And then there was Machop Chol, who also missed one pretty similarly. But yeah, I mean ultimately, Machop Chol, as we were talking about him, yeah, he showed some dynamism, I think, tonight, with the header early when he came on, and then of course with his goal, like a poacher's goal. I think it's just like something that I think we're clamoring for in an understudy for Yakumakis. I mean, it's something that I think we've been missing. Obviously, Miguel Berry. Did you notice him like do anything of any standout? Henry.
He made a few decent runs, but he didn't really get to touch the ball in a very dangerous spot. And honestly, I don't even know, man. With him, he's just a bit inconsistent. But I think a good striker can find and make himself space in the box, and he knows what to do with it. That's what you see with Yako. Interestingly enough, Barry's like a few inches taller than Yako, but Yako just makes himself known in the box. Like you he's there, and he has a capability of, scoring from the header. He has good shots, and he's decent in the box. You know that Yako's going to score when he gets in the box. Mm-hmm. And you don't have that same confidence with Barry. And really also his speed. Yako's speed helps him a lot. Barry doesn't have that speed. And that's kind of why I think you start seeing this team, Almada specifically, sending less, through balls over the top to Barry as he does for Yako. And I think it's kind of the level of confidence you have between those two strikers. One can get the job done, can get to the ball, and can score, and the other one probably can't.
Yeah.
So it's, there's a big chasm between Yako and Barry, and you kind of expect that.
Oh, yeah.
Because one is a player who has had Champions League experience, a player who has been top scorer in 2 different European leagues, and then the other is just been in an MLS kind of as a depth piece his entire career. So you kind of expect it, but you also kind of hope that Barry does a little bit more. I think in the last game, and even in the one before that, he was doing all right. But yeah, he's definitely got a way to go.
I think I'm going to try and connect all these dots for a second, if you'll permit me. Just go on a crazy theory real quick. I think a lot of these players that Atlanta United signs, and it's something I don't think they're really looking. They're able to like see this or appraise this about a player, because I would imagine it's really hard to. Is a lot of these players seem to be confidence-based players. That if things don't roll their way, it's very hard for them to get back on the horse and then to find their form and to continue and to do well. Some players have it, some players don't. And like clearly Etienne just cannot find his confidence. When he was in front of like the sitter, the obvious kind of movements he's supposed to make, he just doesn't do because he's overthinking everything. He's in his head. He's completely in his head. So you see that with Barry, I think too. I think a lot of these players, they're just maybe they're too cerebral, think too much about it. I don't know. Like who knows? Maybe it just need like a killer instinct like Yaka, who just turns his brains off and scores goals. I don't know, but that's my
yeah. It's probably that. I don't think you're wrong, man. I think it's probably the ability to be able to forget quickly, and trust in your ability.
Yep.
Exactly, and it's probably that. I mean, a good number of the players, kind of forget what got them here, which was their ability to be able to do whatever their position is meant to be. But someone that I think came on and I think really started to maybe solidify the lines for us was Ozzy Alonso. And I think, we started to kind of really grow into the game, especially in the, latter part of the match when he just kept things ticking. Like he just kept it simple, but moved it forward well. And I think that's what allowed, Almada to be higher up the pitch. And then Machop Chol as well, play in a little bit more dangerous positions. But how did you find Alonso's few minutes in the match?
Yeah, I think Ozzy was great. He has that veteran experience at the MLS level, and so he was very secure on the ball. Put in a couple of good tackles, used his body well. And generally just helped move the play a lot better than Sosa did at first. And so he did a really good job. I want to go really quickly back to Mike's point about players getting confidence. I think that's a very interesting theory, and it's interesting that you bring it up because I remember right after, coincidentally, the home game against New England. When Brad Guzan had those three really bad the goals that some of them could have been prevented, and a lot of people were kind of blaming him for that. And I remember after that game, there was a training session open to media, and Guzan was asked, how do you bounce back? How do you, come back from that sort of a game, and then do better in the next one? And the next one being LAFC, which as we know, that was a really good game for Brad. And what Brad said was basically, move on. Mm-hmm. You had a bad game. Just, you pick up your head and you move on and you go on to the next game. And I think that's the kind of professional mentality that some of these players might be missing, that could, these more veteran players could instill in them. But yeah, I think to your point, Etienne, Barry, maybe that's what's missing in those players. The ability to just, okay, I had a bad game, but now I got to, leave that behind me and go on to the next one and do my thing and be better.
Instead, they let it compound. Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
Henry, can we ask you
for anything?
Just one last question from AJ, and then we're going to ask you for your 3 stars.
Yeah, I think you nailed it with your point there, and I'm likening it to like Ted Lasso, essentially. Like if we've learned anything from Ted Lasso is that, a psychologist or a therapist, it's super important. I think maybe if we don't have that in the team, we might need to, kind of incorporate that aspect, because so much of sports is between the ears. And if players are struggling for confidence, or they cannot shake the yips, they really absolutely should, get some therapy, seek talking to somebody and to be able to figure it out. Because yeah, you can train all you want. Not exactly sure that's always the solution.
Yep.
But yeah, go ahead, Mike.
So Henry, who are your 3 stars for this game from us?
3 stars. I mean, I think if we're going number 3, probably it's a tough one for number 3 because I already know my 2 and 1, but number 3, let's just say number 3 is let's go with Ozzy. Ozzy came into the game, really solidified the midfield. His veteran presence helped there. We already talked about that. And I wish he could play more minutes because he just positively impacts the team. And I think he also gives the other players confidence. I mean, you have an MLS legend with you, so what's not to like about that?
Yeah.
And number 2 is going to be Almada. Even though there were a few moments where he had a few hiccups and the turnover for the second goal initiated with him, but I'm not going to blame him for that. I think he was very, very good offensively. He put up so many shots that some of them had to go in, had it not been for Petrovic's heroics. He also made some really good passes. The pass for Etienne's one-on-one.
The Lennon pass.
Oh yeah, the Lennon pass. I forgot about that one. But that one too, and he just he was really dynamic in the attack, even in a game where Atlanta United didn't score, but a lot of the action was flowing through him. And then number 1 is Machapcho for the goal, and for coming on, being a homegrown and being able to come in and bring a new energy to the game. I feel like it's always good to see the younger players come out and make a difference. There is, I think this is the 9th goal scored by homegrowns this season, which is the most in one season for homegrowns ever in the history of Atlanta United. I think before the season it was something like 5, and now homegrowns have 9 goals. And I think that speaks to Atlanta United's academy development, the second team, coaching staff, all of that. So kudos to them. And hopefully Orlando's a much better result.
Yeah, got to imagine it will be, but you never know. I like to think we're saving ourselves for Orlando. We didn't even really try today, so.
Hopefully, we'll see.
All right, well, thank you, Henry.
Yeah, as always, it's a pleasure, and yes, have a great rest of your night, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, guys. Have a good night. Thanks for having me on.
Yep, no problem. Take care. All right, next we are going to have, you know him, you love him. He's been here. He's been around. He's in the chat. He's all over Reddit. This is Bill Gluckman. He'll be in a minute. And Bill, if you're watching, I'm not giving you any royalties for using your 3 stars of the game thing. I know you started that on Reddit, but I'm taking it and we're just running with it. So, and you can yell at me about it later.
Yeah, speaking of the chat, let's see what the good people are saying. And as well, make sure to like, share, and comment, and subscribe, and share this stream on Twitter. We will retweet you.
Yeah,
so
make sure to tag us in it.
Indeed. And also on Threads. Follow us on Threads and share the love on Threads too.
All right. Not too many chatters right now, but we do have Bill in here. So, Bill, did you hear what I said?
I did not.
So I'm making no apologies for taking your 3 stars of the game thing, and I'm using it and running with it. So I apologize to no one.
I mean, it's a hockey thing, so
yes, it is. But I love it,
feel
and I'm
free
using
to
it.
steal it.
Okay.
Everyone stole our hockey teams, so it matches.
Yes, this is factual. Although Michael is not a Thrashers fan, so he doesn't care about us in terms of.
I mean, if they come back to Atlanta, I will, because that's exciting. But
yeah,
I will probably root for the Flyers over them though. So
that's expected.
But that's the thing, that the Thrashers will win every time because Flyers are god awful. So
Wow. So you're saying a team that doesn't even exist yet will beat your
put the
team?
Gladiators up against the Flyers, and the Glads would probably win.
Wow.
Yeah, it's a sad state of affairs over there.
Yeah. Well, also sad state of affairs in terms of results tonight. 2-1. Bill, let's have your thoughts on this match.
Popped off the plane, not ready to play. Give up 2 quick goals, and then a lot easier to look good when a team doesn't need to attack anymore. We've done it now 2 times in a row against New England. Quick fall behind. Harder to catch up without GG, but I don't mind the result. It's not the end of the world.
Yeah.
The big thing was to come out healthy and hopefully full fitness for the weekend. That's a bigger game to me. I think the MLS is about penciling in, 3 or 4 games where you just have to stay healthy, and this was one of them. Midweek, sandwiched without Miles. You're going to be in trouble, so I don't mind it. I thought the tactical adjustments by Pinedo were good. I thought Etienne had a very inconsistent game, but he created the most chances in terms of expected assists. He's just right-footed. It's the dumbest thing ever. Every time the ball's on his left foot, it's just useless. Just play him on the right. Just all you got to do is play him on the right. It'll solve a lot there. Mascara's the reverse. Play him on the left. Matt Turner with a big save. 2-2 in the
By the way,
penalty
AJ,
shootout.
United States scored and put the game into penalties, so it's not over yet. This is live talking about the United States in the Gold Cup against Panama.
That's a mid-break.
Insane game. Panama scored in the 99th minute, right?
Yeah, and I think USA scored like 105 or something.
Yeah.
That is insane. Wow. Anyway, well, yes, this match.
It's hard not to watch both,
Go on,
but
Bill.
I think I think the key is whether Sosa's I saw Sosa in that lineup and thought that was bad. That was going to be rough for him to play 2 in a row. He is frequently injured. We should be working on nursing him back. So, to me, that was the big mistake. But you saw when Rossetto came on, he doesn't have that desire to hit that final ball. Nagby is not interested in hitting the final ball until you get in the box, and then he'll go rip the ball. Rosie just needs just a little bit of that. Etienne rolled a ball across the box, and it was waiting for him. He'd take 2 steps and rip it. Jeff would have broken a kid's arm in the 12th row, or we've had all sorts of midfielders. Santi likes to step up and hit them, but you just gotta step up and hit it. So hopefully Sosa's fit for the weekend. We get the new guy shortly. But to me, that was not a discouraging performance. That's a fine performance. That's a solid team at home. Just need to buckle down, stay healthy, and take care of business on the weekend.
Do you think so? I would imagine Santi probably comes out at 60 minutes, then Alonso comes in on Saturday. Because we're running this kid ragged. After his performance on the weekend and then today, you could, like you said earlier, you could tell he's struggling a bit.
To me, there's 2 things that every MLS coach has to learn from. The first is if you qualify for Champions League, you have to rotate the hell out of your squad. You just have to do it. If you don't, you'll end up like Seattle. You'll end up like us in 2020, 2021. I think that's the year we fell apart at the beginning with injuries and then had to be rescued at the end. You just can't stay healthy and play that. Because of part 2, the travel is a legit concern. It's far to go to Montreal on the weekend, back here, and then back to New England. That's a lot of time in a plane. That's a lot of time traveling. That's more than anyone's going to travel in England over the course of a week.
Oh, yeah.
So to me, you just have to learn to rotate your squad. And we didn't do that today, so it'll be really interesting to see how we play on the weekend and how fresh we look. Because I'm concerned that 3 days after this match, where they, a bunch of the players put in solid effort, it's going to be hard to return. And especially with Santi, you had to have rested him today. Even if you get pounded and lose 3 or 4-0, I think that's the move over risking him.
So if you were to rest him today, who would you have played?
Rosie. I would have just started Rosie. With the back three, I mean, obviously the first 5 minutes didn't, the first 10 minutes were a disaster, but with the back three, Rosie and Sadic should be perfectly comfortable in front of them. Like, that's fine to have. So to me, that's what you do. You would have started Rossetto next to Sadic. Tell Sadic his job is to mark Carlos Hill as best as he can with the knowledge there's three men behind him. And then tell Rosie his job is to kick the ball to Almada or one of the wide players. And do that every single time. Just kick the ball upfield.
Wait, you're telling him he can't back pass? Are you sure?
You cannot back pass, and you have to be semi-quick with it. You've got quickness in Etienne. You've got quickness in Wiley. You've got people who can get behind defenders. Just hit the ball. It's Etienne may flub it 7 out of 10 times, but just hit him the ball. Doesn't matter. He's pace. Make them conscious of it, because what that'll do is if you hit the ball behind the line, then they have to step back more. They have to respect that at least a little bit, and that gives Almada space to cook. So Rosie and Sadic should be just looking for the balls over the top, and then I would have rested Sosa.
That's a good point. It's Etienne does make those runs for sure, and so it is with Wiley as well. That should have been definitely a tactic. I agree. Now the Sosa thing, him starting. And being taken off at halftime, I think it's interesting as maybe a thought experiment. Of course, we'll maybe look to the journalists to see if if they ask this question or not. But if Sosa was actually meant to be taken off at halftime, whether performance related or not, even though it looked like yes, obviously in this match, performance related because he was getting skinned time and time again. He was just chasing shadows for most of the match. But I mean. One of those things where maybe Pineda risked it and tried to see if he could get a good 45 out of Sosa. And, because he seemed to maybe, know that he had to make some line changes and, really make all 5 of his substitutions in this match looking to Saturday. And, obviously, Alonso hasn't really quite, gotten his match fitness underneath him. So, I mean, in that respect, like, as a thought experiment, if Sosa was meant to be taken off, what do you guys think of that?
I would be really disappointed if he was meant to come off at halftime. I think it's a tricky thing to do. My general rule is don't start anyone that can't go 60 minutes. So if it's really a planned sub for halftime, then you start Rossetto because there's just no reason to risk it because of if he's only 45 fit. The odds are he could pick up an injury in that first half. Like I wouldn't. That's not how I would play. I want someone who can go 60 because that gives me some assurance in case someone else gets hurt. Right, we burn a window, whatever it is. So I hope it wasn't just a decision. It seemed like tactics. It makes sense to be tactics or poor performance. Both of those are very possible. I think hopefully we get some pace because chasing Carlos Hill or chasing Mukhtar or chasing some of these other talented attacking players is going to be impossible for guys like Sosa and Sadic. They're just
it's
they don't have the
order
pace
for
to
anyone.
stay with
Yeah.
them. Yeah, you have to. Well, Miles is coming home. I wouldn't expect to see him Saturday, but Miles can help with that type of stuff because he can be an eraser a lot. He can allow you to go with a back four. He can allow you to push a lot more. Mm-hmm. So hopefully that'll help a little bit with the midfield chaos and the new guy. But yeah, I hope Sosa's fit for Saturday and ready to play because it'd be a big blow if he's not and we're stuck with what we've got left.
Yeah, I agree with Bill. And like essentially, I mean, if Rosie is also, I think, a better just kind of the way he plays, which is distribution out wide / backwards, laterally and backwards, I think is just kind of more defensively minded because boy, do I not label him as like a progressive or attacking midfield player. So, I mean, in that regard, like, I feel like he can be tidy on the ball. He can play it relatively safe, But if you're looking to go forward, it's just really not going to happen. So like you're playing away and you're trying to be more defensive, put numbers behind the ball, I think, and like build out really slowly. Like I don't know, Rosie could be a guy to get that job done. So it would be that over having.
It's the type of match I think this should have been, though. I mean, to build out slowly, this should have been. Sorry, guys. This should have been that type of match where we hit them on the counter quickly. We,
and then
try
Sosa's
to
your guy.
exploit.
So yeah.
And that it was not the case. I mean, we just we look like shell shocked in the first 15, 20 minutes.
Yeah.
We just allowed everything.
Yeah, we just don't have the personnel to do that, to execute that kind of plan. So like doesn't matter who you play.
Yeah.
Either one is just slightly more defensively safe, the other is more attack minded but is more exposed, and then you get exposed and you get scored on. So
yeah. So yeah, it's a whole conundrum of where, like you're saying, Phil, it's like, okay, yeah, if we can rotate, fantastic, but in MLS, it's the matter of depth. And yeah, the broadcast definitely was talking about how having Carl Seal back was a big boon for the Revs, because it's he changed the way that they were able to play. I would trust that Twellman watches a lot of the Revs, and yeah, he noticed a big shift in their ability to be able to just look more competent.
yeah, I mean, teams built around him clearly.
Yeah, exactly. And so they're the same way, but they had definitely their best player humming along. Almada ran into a ridiculous Petrovic, but yeah. What was your take on Almada's game tonight?
I thought Almada was fine. I thought Almada did a good job. He beat people, drew 2 yellows. He played well. I mean, it's hard for him to do a lot more. He needs to be a little bit quicker on some of his releases, but he passes well. He moves the ball well. I mean, his performance today is why he's worth $30 million and not $15 or $20 million. It's because he's good when all the lights are on him and people are still doing it. And that performance was one that, if Petrovic doesn't play as well, if Etienne hits the ball on target from 4 yards away, you're talking about a little bit different of a result. So I thought he was, good as good as advertised. He's been, as the season's gone on, teams have geared more to him, and he's taken on more of the burden of the actual midfield, which doesn't exist right now. So to me, I mean, he's continued to step into that role, fill it. I think he just needs help, and I don't know whether that's in the form of an 8, Gigi being healthy, some better wing play. I don't know what that is that would help him, but
a little bit of all the above,
help.
I think.
Yeah, he just needs someone to take one of the 3 players watching him away from him. There's 3 players at all time watching him. When he's dribbling, there's a guy on him, there's a second guy coming, and there's a third guy watching in case he beats them. And that's a lot of people to not have anyone else do anything. So I thought tonight he was good. I thought the movement off the ball in the second half was some of our better work I've seen from them. There were players moving around in the box, which we don't really ever do. We just, we're a 3-man team, and we're without 2 of them right now. So it's gonna be tough.
Yeah, and what you were saying about Almada's production tonight, I mean, all I have to say is 10 shots on goal and what was it, like 5 or 6 or something like on target. Like most of that is from Almada. So I would say, either providing a really good opportunity or taking the shot himself. So, on any other day, that could be 2-3 goals or something like that. If, things fell a different way, if Petrovic doesn't stand on his head. So I think he absolutely did what he's worth, and he did everything he could. Probably a little more, too. I mean, he really tried to put this game on his back. You could see some of the shots, some of the things he was doing were a little forced because he's like, I need to make something happen. And, a big player like that, they will take that willingly on and will try and do that. So I was happy to see that. In some past games, it hasn't worked out. Like, he just tries really hard, and he just gets stifled, and no one is really helping him. So it can be difficult to watch. But this time, he really balled out a bit. So I really think his production was there.
9 shots, 5 on target, 5 key passes. I mean, that's a lot. And those 5 on target produce rebounds. I mean, he played fine. I mean, he's not going to score every game. He's not going to assist every game. He's going to do a lot. He's drawing players. It's just the next option, the third option. I thought Chol did a nice job today of moving and being, kind of unpredictably Machop, as I would call it, where he just is pure chaos on the field, which you sometimes need. But yeah, we're missing the backup striker. They brought Bobby Wood has 5 or 6 goals this year, and they bring him off the bench. So
Yeah.
that would be nice to have. Nice to have a really good backup striker.
Yeah, I think he's like tied with Heel for goals this year. So like, they're spreading the goals around.
Yeah, I think he was a free agent, so it's one of those things where, I mean, it was possible to bring in somebody like that, but it is what it is. I think, maybe in terms of the ability to fill that spot, I mean, we just don't have the money, possibly, because we posited last episode that Dom Dwyer, maybe why he wasn't brought on back again is maybe because he wanted, maybe some, I guess, what's the word? I guess the fact that he did play pretty well last year and, wanted to be compensated, but he was on a league minimum. And so, somebody like him probably, just hasn't earned the trust around the league that he can maybe replicate that. And, but it is definitely, we need a backup striker and Machop Chol. I mean,
He's
a good
serviceable.
poacher's goal.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, what'd you think of his goal tonight? I mean, weak foot, pounce on an opportunity, ball bouncing around. What do you think?
That's just hustle, just pure hustle. And if you put the ball into dangerous spots, sometimes good things happen. I mean, watch Man United play with Harry Maguire. He scores like 6 or 7 goals a year on his own goal just because people hit a cross. So Etienne decided to hit the ball, takes a deflection. It's an awkward play, and the center back and Chol forces the turnover. So I mean, I like it from a chop. That's what a striker should do. They should be hungry in the box. But he hit a shot for a throw in from 8 yards like a minute and a half before that. So he's chaos. He's fun. What to me is interesting is, you paid a lot of money between Abram and Etienne, and you paid some allocation money to bring in Barry. I gotta imagine Bobby Wood was cheaper than what I've just described. It seems like while we're doing a lot to get out of bad contracts or at least figure it out, we seem to just be shooting ourselves in the foot at the same time because we saddled 2 more difficult contracts if this is the output we're going to get from those 2 guys. So I think both of them have shown that there possibly is more there. I mean, Abram is still a Peruvian national team player. He's still super talented. It can be there, but it's a lot. You can't miss on almost max TAM guys like that, and you can't miss on $700K for Etienne.
Yeah, absolutely. So what are your 3 stars for this game for us?
Oh boy. I thought the 3rd star would probably be. The 3rd one's gonna be tough.
Yeah, Henry had a difficult time too.
I had 2 clear ones. I think Chol gets the 2nd star. I think Almada gets the 1st star. Almada did work. Chol put the goal in. 3rd star is somewhere between one of the guys that underperformed, but Guzan made 1 good save, so that's helpful. Etienne did a lot of things. I didn't think Wiley played bad, so between them, one of them should get it. I'd probably lean towards Etienne, but that's just bias of hoping that giving him a star will make him play better.
Right. All right, Bill. Thanks so much for stopping by and giving us your take on the game. Hopefully next time it's a little bit better.
All right. Thanks, y'all.
Thank you.
Have a good night.
All right, next it's finally your time, Ariel. You can come in. I'm giving you the ability to this time. I know you were having technical difficulties earlier. I was just busting your balls there. But what I want to ask him when he comes in here is that, no one's mentioned anything about Tyler Wolff tonight. I want to see what some opinions are about his performance. What did you think?
Yeah, Tyler Wolff, man. Yeah, it seemed like they weren't really trying to pass him the ball. And as well, I mean, when you have Miguel Berry up top, who doesn't get the ball very much either, we pretty much had two black holes, and that probably led to kind of not having outlets up top, and the kind of discontinuity between the lines in attack. I mean, it was just yeah, I mean, we were really getting hammered in the first half, at least first 20 minutes, 30 minutes. And so I think it led to that a little bit where Wolff didn't really do too much in this match. I don't know why he was taken off. And I think he's that player that he's probably best as a second striker, probably as a guy who can find the ball in and around the box and put the ball away. Pretty clinical, obviously, as we've seen. But in terms of chance creation, in terms of being able to cross the ball in, yeah, I'm not really so sure that part of his game has developed quite yet. And so obviously it's something that he can work on. Still a young player, but yeah, I mean the shot that came to him, he just put it into the next orbit. It was a really, really hastily taken shot, and could have been a reason why he was taken off early. But yeah, it's just there's more to come from Wolff, but definitely not his best game.
Yeah, agree. One question we have in the chat is, hey, from Joshua, hey, is Atlanta going to be a playoff team? I think so. I think we're going to find ourselves in the playoffs with the expanded playoff slots this time around. So it'd be kind of ridiculous not to be in. I feel bad for teams that don't make it in this time around. But hopefully we're not, hopefully we're not, looking back on this video saying, well, actually it happened to be us. So, yeah, I think we'll make it. I think it's pretty confident in saying that. And also, Jesus, apparently USA lost on penalties. So Panama is moving on. Yikes. Wow. Yikes.
So I guess the one benefit, sorry guys, the one benefit, it's like really dry in my mouth, in my throat. But the one benefit is, I guess, Miles Robinson returning. So there is that one caveat, but obviously not great to see the U.S. men's national team bow out to, I would say, a minnow. Yeah, but is what it is. That's pretty brutal. I think also, yeah, before Ariel comes on, yeah, now we want him on. Where you at? But the Georgian winger as well. I mean, speaking about players that maybe are brought on TAM or on some high money, we don't know yet, but he could be brought on with some TAM. I think it'll be very interesting how much he actually ultimately is brought on for. But yeah, the stats so far, I mean, in this, I guess previous season that he played, 31 games, 3 goals, 6 assists, doesn't exactly scream out that we will do well with this. I mean, especially on higher money. I'm concerned. I'm concerned about the decision making there if this is truly a rumor that comes to fruition. Because I mean, yeah, while he seems like he's got some pace and a decent cross on him, I think what we need is end product, MLS proven end product.
Yeah.
And or at least, end product in other leagues. But yeah, I think it's like it's a winger that's like not inverted, but Luis Araujo is what it kind of looks like to me at the moment.
Yeah.
Anyway, it doesn't scream confidence of like, you know what? I really want to see this player come here.
Yeah, absolutely not.
I'm not sure.
There's nothing that's like particularly interesting about this guy to me. I mean, he's quick, so that's nice, but so is Luis. I mean, I don't, like you said, you nailed it when you said, he's non-inverted Luis Araujo. So, I think that's pretty much what it is. Like you're saying, we really need a goal-scoring threat. We need someone else to be able to step up and be like, I'm going to put this ball in the back of the net if no one steps to me. So then that frees up Almada and Yako to do more crazy stuff, our wingers to do more crazy stuff, because everyone's worried about this other guy too. So, I mean, it's also really showing that we don't have a third DP on the field as well, because, they have less guys to truly worry about. They can let Etienne, they can let Tyler Wolf or Wiley and Lennon just kind of lob and crosses fairly harmlessly, especially when we don't have Yako or Scholl or someone tall to receive them in the box. So, I mean, it's just kind of desperate crossing, and we really need someone else to just be like, I'm dangerous. I can just kind of step up. And I mean, hey, if it's a defenseman, if it's a fullback, I don't care. Someone like a Jacob Glesnes to just walk up and be like, you're not going to step to me, and I'm just going to blast it. Like, someone like that, something like that, that would be great. Something that just unbalances a low block defense when they're trying to just see out a game or something like that. That would be great. And I don't think we've had that in a long, long time.
Yeah, I agree with that. Someone that's can dribble in tight spaces. I think just to help Almada out, because we're relying on him heavily. We saw that in this match. Like, it's just if he can't get it in, I mean, who else can, really? Obviously, like, we don't have Yakumakis. It's just it takes a little bit of a poacher's goal in order to kind of get us back in the game. We have 1 minute left to be able to do anything. So it's tough. It's definitely that's I would agree. It's like that type of player, someone that can play make from the wing. They don't maybe necessarily have to be an out and out goal scorer, but I think a chance creator.
Yeah,
I think that's somebody that would be amazing, whether it's on the left or the right. Because I think now it's probably, I would argue we should probably, bring someone in for the left, since Wiley is now more of the left back, and so it is that where Etienne, jury's out if he's long for the left wing, or maybe more in the regard of a kind of natural winger, less inverted, but definitely interesting to see. But Ariel, is he coming on, or
so our other three guests are MIA? So we're gonna move on to the wheel. Unless you have, let's just give your final thoughts of the game real quick, and then I'll give mine, and then we can move on to the last part.
Okay. Yeah. I guess we maybe did take a good bit of time with each guest before this, so it's understandable. I think last thoughts on this match. I mean, it's we take too long to get into the match, especially on the road. We do this too often, and there is that like kind of excuse of how team social media like to be like, oh, you know what, we were gritty and we tried till the end, but we just ran out of time. But honestly, this match kind of actually was that. We actually did that. But it is, yeah, I mean, it's not the worst result on the road against now a second place team. I think we're like 5th or 6th because of this. So we didn't really move up or down. But no, we will be, in terms of the next match against Orlando City, this kind of is a 6-pointer. Like, we absolutely need to win this next match because not only are we at home, but they're right around us in the table. And them being right around us in the table, we have to take care of business.
Absolutely.
And we have Niall.
Niall made it. How you doing?
How's it going?
How's it going, buddy?
Good.
We're doing pretty good. As good as you can be when both your teams lose. So.
Right.
Oh man.
Effing brutal. Yep. But yeah, have your thoughts on this match.
First 10 minutes were a disaster. I mean, first goal you concede 3 minutes in, and then you concede another. And I personally thought it was just gonna get worse from there, but it didn't. And Atlanta kind of grew into the match. Lots of chances, but Petrovic kind of stood on his head today for New England. And it's not a shock because he's one of the best keepers in the league. Frustrating because I think if not for Petrovic and if not for being more maybe clinical, I think Atlanta could have gotten away with a point today maybe. So I mean, it was always going to be tough based on the amount of rest we've had, the players we have out against a team that's unbeaten at home and is one of the top teams in the East. But I think Atlanta might be a bit hard done by how this match played out, especially with the way that towards sort of the last 30 minutes they were playing. But yeah, you kind of just move on from this result and then you get ready for Orlando.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, you're on mute.
I am totally on mute. Yes, but anyway, yeah. So, great points, Niall. It's something where are we too heavily reliant on Thiago Almada to make things happen? Because obviously we're down 2 DPs as well in a league that, if you don't have your 2 DPs, you're gonna probably struggle. But we've been able to make do. But did the game tape, for Bruce Arena, who's just a fantastic coach, obviously. He was able to nullify most of our strengths, at least early on.
Yeah, I think so. You want to take that now?
Yeah, that was posed to you. Question.
Oh, yeah. I think just. Yeah, I mean, Bruce Arena is a good coach. He's proven in MLS. Also, just the amount of quality that New England has as well. When you have a player like Carlos Heel that you have to deal with, then that's no easy task. He was basically just floating around. And as I think Taylor Twellman said on the broadcast, he's like such a good player for finding space. Just caused problems for Atlanta throughout, and just like the way that I think New England kind of just put pressure on Atlanta, kind of just suffocating them in a way that kind of made it really, really hard for us. And I think that's kind of what led to the 2 goals being conceded in such a quick fashion, was just the way that New England in the beginning were kind of suffocating the defense, and then I think they kind of dropped off a bit towards like the latter stages of the match. But yeah,
they definitely did. You could tell, especially in the second half. One of the chatters was saying in the Discord, which is a good point. After that, 15-minute mark or something like that, New England just couldn't keep up that intensity of a press. I mean, it
Yeah.
was such a incredibly energetic attack, and we just were dumbfounded by it. And they realized that's all they had to do. That's all the work they had to do. 15 minutes of work, and then they can relax. And that was it. So, I mean, a lot of teams feel like they can do that. And we've shown if we survive that, we can really surprise people. So, like, it's just surviving that initial onslaught. We're just so just keen on giving up soft goals early.
Yeah, I mean, if not for the soft goals, then I think Atlanta could have potentially gotten a point out of this match, and that's the thing. There's just been too many performances where Atlanta's just conceding early goals, and if they would not, then I think they would make up a lot of lost points on the table, and they would be in a better position than they currently are in. So,
yeah. Let me get your 3 stars of the game, which probably going to see some repeats from some of the other guests tonight, because there wasn't a lot going on this game.
No, I mean Almada for sure is my number 1 star. He made a lot happen today, and he really should have had, I don't know, like 6 assists, but and I also think that I'm gonna say I thought Wiley had a good match. Offensively, there was a couple of moments in the second half in particular where he was going forward. He had a decent shot on goal as well. And then I'll say, I think I'm gonna say Brad. Brad had some good saves to keep it in a sort of reasonable scoreline and not too out of hand. So yeah.
I didn't think any of the goals scored against him were his fault in particular.
No, the first one was just an absolute sort of banger. So not really much you can do there. The second one is the one I take issue with because you're just getting kind of burned defensively. So.
Well, all right, Niall. Thank you very much, and I'll let you get out of here. And we're gonna talk to Mark Nichols a little bit. Everybody, it's been a little bit, and he's here to give us.
Have a good night, Niles.
And to give, thank you so much, Niall, for coming on again, and we'll see you again next time, hopefully for a better result. Mark, I'm not sure you saw the game, but I know you have plenty to talk about in terms of what you saw in terms of Twitter posts, and maybe you're a little heated because I see that USA jersey on right now. So channel all that right into this match review, which you can do an abridged version of.
Sure. Just want to make sure you guys can hear me okay?
I can hear you fine.
Great. Appreciate it. Yeah. Like you mentioned, I wasn't able to actually watch the game. I'm not in my usual location, but thanks to I'm assuming it was AJ on the tweets.
Always on the tweets. Can't stop the man from tweeting.
Man. Energize the bunny with the tweet. No, it's nothing. Yeah, man. It's just like you get that notification. It's like, here we go again, right? It's like, didn't the match just start?
Yeah.
And kind of caught the tail end of what Niall was saying there in terms of the goals, I guess, or the quality of them. But it's just such a persistent pattern, and I almost reacted myself on Twitter, basically to say, I don't care how this ends. This isn't good enough. I mean, it ended up, it was a moot point because they did end up losing. And to be honest, I think it's something that probably needs to happen a little more often. Like they've only lost 2 of their last 11 matches, but we know that a lot of them have been like of that comeback nature, last gasp sort of thing. And sure, on the one hand, that shows fight. It shows obviously this team has quality. This is all. I still believe that this is a playoff team, at the very least. But man, oh man, it's just not good enough. Like for a roster this expensive, for as much investment as there is on the field, they're not playing up to that at all. I mean, let's just take a peek at the standings real quick. Yeah, I bet we're what, 6 now? Like,
Possibly.
Yeah, we're in 6, I believe. And
yeah,
it is that. It's underperformance. It's even without two DPs, we still have a very expensive roster, and we should absolutely still be doing better. But yeah, it is. It's on the road. It's a result that you don't bank on anyway, especially against a team that's higher in the standings. But I mean, yeah, you can't go away and give up 2 quick goals like that. That's just,
Yeah.
very unacceptable. That's that's switching off. Like that's they're kind of fluky a little bit in terms of at least the first one. The second goal is just absolute quality. That's can't really do too much about that one. But
Yeah, that screen sucked. That was just, oh my goodness.
yeah, but it is agreed with you, man. It's there's a lot of maybe between the ears mentality that is left to be desired.
Yeah. To talk about Mark's point for a second, I was saying earlier, this team is like 0 to 60 in 90 minutes. Like, you guys need to be 0 to 60 in the first minute or so. Like, I don't know why we take so long to get started. It's maddening. Like, get ready to play a soccer game. Like, it's not that hard. Like, that should be the easiest part of the soccer game, is mentally preparing yourself, because that's just you. That's all on you. And they're just not doing it. They're not prepared. And I don't know if the coach doesn't get them fired up, if the players, there's no leader to get them fired up. I don't know what it is, but these guys are not having a fire lit under them. And it shows consistently. I mean, yeah, we get there eventually. You start to see towards the end of games, we pick it up and we're playing like we should be playing. But everyone always says, and everyone can always point this out, it takes us forever to get to that point. And half the time we're trailing. And it's just, everyone knows, hit a lane early, hit them hard, and then sit back, and you'll probably be able to be okay. It sucks.
yeah. I you took the words out of my mouth, to be honest. I mean, it's almost. So I asked my friend, my buddy who was able to watch the game, if they were better in the second half, and he said that Atlanta United basically outplayed them in the second half, and it's one of those. It's almost more frustrating when that happens. Like, it'd be one thing if they just sucked from start to finish in a game.
Yeah.
It's
like, well, you were just never going to win this game. Yeah.
Right, exactly. Where it's like, oh man, we just don't have it. Or even if that happened game after game, it'd be like, yeah, something's wrong with this team or whatever. But we see pretty much in most, if not all games, we see what this team can be. They just don't do it for 90 minutes. And at the end of the day, like, you could talk about the roster, you could talk about, the team on paper and all that, but these performances speak for themselves. This is who they are. And I think their record also says who they are. Right now they're 60. Right now so just to remind people, the 8th and 9th seed this year will do a play-in thing. Right now we are 5 points above a play-in spot, basically. Wasn't that long ago that we were 3 points off the top. You know what I mean? And so I think I've said this before, but it really just feels like a one and done team, which, again, like, for Atlanta United and our standards, that should not be good enough. I don't know if I speak for all Atlanta United fans here, because I do feel like, there are some fans who would prefer to take the positive side, and I can admire that to a degree, but sometimes you just got to call a turd sandwich for what it is. And it's just poor, man. It's just poor. It's really not fun either. Like, yes, the comebacks are exciting to a degree, but it gets to a point where it's just like, when it's a pattern, it's not actually that fun, I think.
Yeah, it's a symptom. It's an indication of something is not going well if you're always coming from behind. That's not a fun position to be in. It's difficult. It's more difficult. So, especially in this league. Yeah. There was something I was about to say to you. What was it? I had this theory earlier that I was playing around with, that a lot of this team, a lot of these players seem to be reliant on confidence. That if they don't have confidence, they're going to be in their own head, and they're going to get, AJ was bringing up the yips. Like, these players just kind of get in their own heads, and they're like, oh, it's happening again, and then it just keeps compounding, and it's like, you can point to like several players where you're just missing, or, just doing poorly in places that are just easy, obvious, that other players on MLS, easy, this is second nature stuff, and they're just whiffing on it. And it's like, it's not that they're and then this maps on to what Gonzalo Pineda says with, they're killing it in training. Yeah, of course they are, because they don't have that, they don't have the mentality part going on in those training sessions. So, and then you also bring up, we kind of look at kind of the course of how they play their games and how it takes them, 0 to 60 in 90 minutes. That's kind of another indication that the team is just kind of like overly emotional and immature, in that, they first of all behave in this kind of, they're not being a goldfish, they're not forgetting, they're getting in their own heads, and they take forever to kind of get started. Like, these to me indicate kind of like immature type players. It's not that they're not good or whatever like that, but like, it's exclusively mental. Like, getting ready for the soccer game is on the player. So like, this is a player thing. Pineda can drill as many things as he wants, and it can be practiced as best as they can. But if you have the yips, or if you're just not there mentally, you're not going to be able to do it. And we see it time and time again with, like, you just sitting there with sitters and you just blast it out and you miss it, or you make the wrong pass, or you start getting in your head and start under passing, under and overweighting the passes, and then just silly turnovers just constantly. It's like, and this is, so that I feel like is like a big problem we have. On top of that, the other problem is that I don't know how to fix that, because the ideal fix is to find players that are not like immature / can get in their head. They're not confidence-based players, and I don't know how you go look for that. That's like, it's hard. I mean, yeah, you can do like, because Ozzy Alonso is definitely not a confidence-based player. He's not immature. This guy's a steadfast rock, and he's gonna. Guzan is like that too. I mean, like, we have players like that, but just like the midfield defense and some, like, just, it's just not there. We need just more solid rocks, like, throughout the spine of the team, and we just don't have it. So, I mean, again, I don't know what to tell, like, Carlos or a technical, like a scouting director, like, go find a player that doesn't crumble under pressure, and they're just like, where does that show up on a scouting report? Like, where is that metric? Like, it just doesn't really show up.
That's the thing. It's the right. I think it's a great point. Is that it's to an aspect of it why they're in MLS, probably. But there is the other bit of it where, yeah, I mean, these players, they need to be able to, I guess, handle it themselves between the ears too, like we were saying earlier, or if not, the scouting that is done needs to be accounting for that as well. Like, what type of player are they? Do they skirt on the big moments when the highly pressurized situations within games? That should be part of the scouting, not just what type of are they a skill-based player? Do they have ridiculous pace? Because I think we've seen that. It's like we have included the likes of Jurgen Damm in the team, and he doesn't have end product. We have had guys that, okay, yeah, maybe they're physically imposing, like an Adam John, but doesn't have finishing ability, or other ability to maybe hold up the ball or, be dynamic. It's just like, it's part of it probably is that, MLS has limited type of players that aren't going to be all Thiago Almadas. And that's kind of the conundrum a little bit, but hopefully those rules loosen up as Inter Miami are going to break all the rules, and
Right.
hopefully we can follow suit and not have to adhere to a damn silly U22 rule.
Yeah.
That I think Franco Ibarra was probably perfect for this type of match.
Yeah, he was missed. Let me ask you something. Since you bring up Ibarra, how would you rate? How would you guys rate Santiago Sosa so far this season? And is he overrated? Is he as good as we thought he would be when he first signed with the team? Keep in mind, he was a designated player, right, at first?
U22 designated player. So I would give this caveat, and I assume you're maybe saying out of 10, probably, or something. But I would say it's like a 6.5 out of 10, probably, in terms of his career so far with Atlanta United. He's been marred with injuries lately, so that's kind of taken away some of his ability to, prove himself. But when he first came on, obviously he was, really, really good for us. Limited in some aspects, because obviously we know he's got his defensive failings a little bit, in the sense of, pace, being able to mark well on the pitch. I think his defensive awareness maybe isn't maybe quite where it needs to be for a defensive midfielder at the moment. So he's probably more in that in-betweener type of midfielder, where he's not quite a 6, not quite an 8. Kind of has pretty good ability on the ball. He was brought in as Hainsey's guy, as the guy who would split the center backs and pretty much be that deep lying playmaker to be able to, hit those long diagonals to the wings and be pretty tidy in distributing the ball. But I think we saw in like the 15 minutes that Ozzy Alonso was on the pitch, he just did a better version of him. I mean, it's just like he's just much older, obviously, and also much more experienced. But I mean, Alonso seems a little bit more mobile, at least in the sense of he's got that defensive awareness to be able to read the game really well because of his experience. And so I think Sosa, him being still very young, he's just not got that innate experience of knowing where to be, to not have to rely on pace and not being too over eager in in the tackle, or in that Carlos Heel nutmeg. It was pretty much, I think he got sold a dream, and he got sent for some chips.
Yeah, I think there's two Sosas. One is the Sosa that the scouting and everything kind of came up with and kind of sold us on, and we saw a little bit of when he first got here. And then there's the second Sosa that you start to see what he's like in a different environment. Because I think what he came from in River Plate, and I think this is going to be a story that's similar for a lot of these same, what I would call like confidence-based players, is that they're coming from areas where you have, or from teams rather, that have players that are very, very good in all positions. And this gives a player a lot of confidence. If they make a mistake, they know they have something to back them or whatever like that. Coming to MLS, it's a different beast. Your issues and errors are more highlighted, and they're more like, oh my goodness and stuff, because it's like you ain't going to get helped out by another, because this other guy's looking at you going like, I'm also confused. So it's like, it's like, stacks on stacks of like errors and mistakes, because there is not enough leadership. Like, and this kind of goes into roster construction in terms of some other MLS teams. Throughout the field, they have like these field marshals set up, and like these veteran players that have experience that can like help the younger guys around them, so they don't feel like everything's falling to pieces when something starts going wrong. So the second Sosa, I think, is just, there's a better version of him available It's just that I don't know if we're going to be able to get that from him unless like we start dominating and he starts starting to feel himself. And there's leaders on the field who are like really like motivating him, getting him going. Yako is absolutely can be one of them. Almada's just a little too, I think, meek and mild to be like a true leader in that way, but he leads in other ways. So like, I think, because like I look back at like 2017 and 18 team, like our midfield had so much like fire and like leadership potential and like guys who were like kind of veteran and like it's almost as if like there was a solid rock like in almost all the positions. Like I would take any one of those players and put them on this team. It'd be immediately an upgrade, like immediately. So it's like we have to be able to find players that are going to be able to either like plug them in so that they can bolster the other ones around them so they don't crumble as easily, or just get, I don't know. I mean, like we were able to get kind of a stacked squad because of expansion and stuff like that. So we're not going to probably see that again. But like we just need players like that can bolster what we already have. And I think a lot of other MLS teams have it. That's why you don't see them having the same problems we do. So we have the talent that can get us by, obviously, but like we really need to shore up some of those other things. And I don't know how to like tell a scouting director or something to be like, go find, because all these other players like that we found and brought in, they look good on paper. They probably play great even to a scouting coach, like because they're not getting subjected to the same type of pressure and calamities that befall them when they play in MLS, because like when something goes wrong, the whole world falls down around them. Versus we're on River Plate, they have all the backup in the world, and it's not the end of the world if something goes wrong. So like, they can depend on a lot of different players to do very well around them. I just feel like Arujo is a great example. Like you see him in other leagues doing great because he had a lot of talent around him. However, he comes here, all of a sudden he starts making mistakes. Now he's in his head. Now he's got the yips. He's missing every shot. He's not making his passes. He's not making the smart play. When we know this guy is good enough to do this kind of stuff. He's just not doing it. I mean, I think he's too reliant. He's grown too reliant on being around a stacked, better team in all the positions. I think a lot of these players are like that. So it's hard to scout for that. It's like, it's like the only way you can know is if you take him out of like a high tier league, put him in a lower league, and just be like, okay, let's see how you perform here. See how you perform when everything's crumbling around you. And can you stand up to it? Then okay. But if you can't, then I don't know how you like look for that. So that's a tricky thing.
I think that's interesting. But it probably is a conversation for another day. And
sorry about the rant,
definitely.
but I'm just like, things are starting to click a bit for me. So
right. But yeah, definitely. I think we've gone a bit long. We should probably wrap this baby up. But
Mark, before we do, just you can give me your last thoughts, 3 stars maybe, and then are you interested in being on the wheel of shame tonight?
I absolutely am interested in being on the wheel of shame.
Right.
I will not avoid shame.
Good job. Good job.
Let's see, 3 stars. Oof. Shout out to Machop Joel scoring at the end. Probably was too late for the comeback, but nice to see him get on the board. Without watching the game, I don't think. I'm trying to think if I saw anything that you guys posted that jumped out to me, but you know what?
Yeah, that's all right.
Yeah, it's a loss. I don't think very many people played well tonight, probably. So it's how did Mascara look?
Okay, he had one
decent Mascara shot. Yeah, he hit a shot on his left, and it was right at the keeper. But yeah, I mean, it was still pretty well hit on his weaker foot. So yeah, and he was playing more on the right. So definitely interesting that he was deployed there. But yeah, I mean, he shows the ability that he has, which is some pace, a willingness to make some things happen. Whether he's actually clinical and can actually get anything on the stat sheet will remain to be seen. He did have 2 assists last season, but yeah, I mean, obviously on his loan, he didn't really produce too much. So yeah, it's one of those. He's probably a good energy guy to bring off the bench, and yeah, hopefully he can, develop and start to show a little bit more end product. But yeah, it wasn't really too bad from Mascara in this match.
Gotcha. Yeah. Well, no, I'll give him a star. Why not?
Yeah, all right.
All right.
Let's get to the wheel.
Yeah.
So we have all three of us on here. I'm going to hit it, see who it lands on. It hasn't been me for a while, so I'm going to knock on wood. It's going to be on me. Yeah, you can see it like coming kind of a mile away. Like you can see it start to slow down. And you're like, oh, okay. All right. All right, yeah, so that's on me tonight. Let's see what we have in terms of the challenge.
No forfeit.
We have red ass game. It was
Yeah.
almost soccer skill challenge.
Okay. Interesting. So yeah, I still owe one. So this will be interesting. I think
Yeah, we'll just
if we
knock out a
can.
couple.
Exactly.
I think I owe
exactly.
one. I think I owe a soccer skill or crossbar challenge, maybe.
Yes, I think you do owe a soccer skill one. Yes. So yeah, once we can finally find some free time, I am swamped before the match on Saturday, but it will something will happen. One of us will do a forfeit, and it will be shown on the stream. But my money's on Michael probably because he's a stand-up guy and he has a pitch near him. So maybe his wife will
Oh man, that would be
pick
funny.
one. Yeah,
That would be funny.
he'll
Yeah.
be maybe a little POV version, since I imagine your child probably won't be able to hold the camera too still, but
It'd be pretty adorable.
that also would be fun. Yeah, exactly. It's probably just like it would be a selfie video of herself, probably.
Yeah,
but,
probably.
yeah.
Probably.
But anyway, okay. All right. So yeah, Michael will have to get red-assed if somebody is accurate enough. But
Right.
yeah. Well, Mark, appreciate you as always for coming on, and Michael as well. Much love to you always for manning the man behind the chair and creating a great stream as always. But yeah, you guys in the chat, if you have anything, drop it in right now because we're about to say our goodbyes. But is there anything in there?
Not tonight. This is a low question stream. That's fine. We're running a little late, and I think the USA game depressed everybody.
Yep. Both results probably took a little wind out of people's sails. I don't blame them. But yeah, if you're watching the replay or if you're watching it right now, remember to hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you have not yet either. We noticed that there's a bunch of you guys watching that haven't hit it, so do so. But yeah, as always, thank you guys so much for watching. I've been AJ. That's Mark. That's Michael. Thank you so much for watching. We'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.
Adios.